Hello class, and welcome to the Super Metroid walkthrough right here on Video Games 101 by way of Let's Play with Brigands. I'm your instructor, Professor Brigands, and as far as I'm concerned, Super Metroid is the high watermark of the Metroid franchise. Franchise? That's hard to say, actually. The Super Metroid You want to say Super Metroid or franchise? I don't know. I'm sorry. This is not a good start to this. This is a classic. It's a veritable masterpiece. You gotta believe me on this. Fluff is going to share a lot of facts about that and the making of this game throughout this walkthrough. I think he actually has more facts for this game than any other game we've ever covered here on Video Games 101 so far, so I'm looking forward to that. Gary's got your boss beaters, and Blaze has info on every item, but most of this is about the walkthrough itself. My goal in this class is to make the quintessential Super Metroid 100% completion guide for everyone, regardless of your skill level, getting all the items and upgrades for a clear time of a little over 2 hours. Now, there's a ridiculous number of speedruns out there with players 100%ing the game in under an hour at this point. I've watched parts of a few of them ahead of this class, which I don't normally do, but I was curious if I could apply any of the tips and tricks which they use to a guide for the everyman and woman. Turns out not really, because they rely on very difficult to pull off hacks which take a lot of practice and aren't practical for most players, including myself. No, this guide is for anyone who just wants to play this classic the normal way, but with the most efficient route for getting a 100% when all is said and done, and with a clear time which nets you the quote-unquote best ending. Almost forgot to handicap this game. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to go ahead and give Super Metroid, in terms of difficulty, a 6 out of 10. On the frustration scale, this equates to biting down and then throwing your controller across the room, maybe because you just don't know where that power-up is that you need, but we're going to show you. We're going to show you everything, the best route to take to find everything you need to 100% complete this game. Even with the most efficient route, this is still over 2 hours, so let's run the intro and get into the Super Metroid walkthrough right here on Video Games 101. Alright, before we start a new game, let's take a quick peek at the settings, which you can do as you select your game. I like that detail of the helmet turning to face you. The controller setting can be set however you want. We'll cover the controls in just a second, but my recommended controls is Y for shot, B for jump, as God intended as far as I'm concerned. But I'm sure the speedrunners think that's blasphemy. Again, we're not speedrunning today. I think this setup works very well. With the extra settings, icon cancel means when you enter a room, anything you had equipped like missiles will automatically unequip. I like leaving this off. I like to keep whatever I had equipped room to room. Let me make those choices. And moonwalk allows you to back up and shoot in front of you, you know, like Michael Jackson used to do. This is in contrast to leaving it off, where you would need to turn around and be facing whatever you want to shoot. I like leaving it off because moonwalking is very slow, and I just find it's more efficient to move where you want to get and then start shooting. But anyway, let's enjoy this intro here. We get a reference to the first Metroid game, first battle of the Metroids on planet Zebes. Had to catch myself there. I learned the correct pronunciation of that word during our class on the first Metroid, which you can check out, linked to the playlist in the description. Yeah, we foiled the plans of the space pirate leader, Mother Brain. Having trouble with R's today, apparently. I like that we have the souped up SNES graphics for taking down Mother Brain right there. But that's what it looked like. I next fought the Metroids on their homeworld SR-388. Completely eradicated them except for a larva, which after hatching followed me like a confused child. That's describing the plot of, I guess it was Metroid 2. It was a Game Boy release, which we have not covered on this channel, but got the monochrome there. That's a nice touch for the Game Boy, except I realized they did that for the first scene too, so never mind. I personally delivered it to the Galactic Research Station at Ceres, so scientists could study its energy-producing qualities. Like a scientist shaking Samus's hand. Good work. You're much cooler than I could ever be. The scientists' findings were astonishing. They discovered that the powers of the Metroid might be harnessed for the good of civilization. Cute little Metroid. Probably doesn't want to be studied, but I feel like it's a good sport in this game. Satisfied that all was well, I left the station to seek a new bounty to hunt. Probably grab a bite first, honestly. 2 straight games without a little R&R time for Samus. I'd hardly gone beyond the galaxy when the Ceres station was under attack. So we get a head right back, and this is where our adventure picks up here. This part is very straightforward here at the space colony. It's a completely linear path right here that you take to get to the lab down below. So while we're doing this, let's take a look at the controls for Super Metroid as we set them up. Again, these are my preferred controls with regards to Y, B, A, and X, but yeah, you can see, have it so that shooting is with Y, jump with B, hold A to dash. I never use the item cancel, but it's up there at X. Angle your weapon up and down with L and R, or I guess R and L, respectively, up and down. And movement there, duck twice once you have the Morph Ball power-up. And we'll talk about wall jumping once we get into the game in proper, but here's the poor, scared little Metroid, and oh, what's up, Ridley? So normally this is where we would bring in our boss expert, Gary, to cover tips on how to beat Ridley right here, but this is an unwinnable battle, actually, so let's go ahead, take damage till you get down to about 29, and Ridley will take off. And now it's time to get the heck out of here as quickly as possible. They give you plenty of time, but I like the physics once we get into this next area where the room is kind of tilting left to right. Fluff, I'm told you have a fact about that Ridley encounter we just had?
If you shoot Ridley enough, they'll drop the baby Metroid to the ground, but quickly rush back and pick it up before flying off. For what it's worth, the rest of the sequence is unchanged in case you were thinking you could really take the speedrunning community by storm in beating this game in 2 minutes, but it's still worth mentioning.
Thank you, Fluff. Yeah, you can see the steam right here doesn't actually hurt you, it just kind of makes it a little more difficult to get out of the station, but they give you plenty of time. And if you couldn't tell, the overall objective of this game is to rescue that Metroid, so let's add it to the list. Let's still see that cool explosion. Very Star Fox-like, that explosion. But here we are, back where it all began, Planet Zebes. And before we touch down, let's take a quick look at the Briggs notes. These are the keys in the Super Metroid walkthrough for beating this game. And it's pretty simple. It's what I said in the intro. Just follow this guide for the most efficient 100% route that doesn't require all-world skills. And as an aside, use Gary's boss beaters. We'll bring him in once we get into the first actual boss. But this is going to be fun. So we touch down on Zebes here. Or we hover above it before we officially touch down. Pause here and take a look at our map and our menu. We got nothing right now. I don't know why Samus felt the need to hawk off all of those sweet upgrades we got in the previous installments of this series, but that's part of the fun, right? We get to find everything fresh. So first thing we're going to do is drop down here. This is pretty much the only thing we can do right now, because we are limited by a lack of the Morph Ball and bombs as well, which we will need to progress things any farther. I'm going to drop all the way down. It's very quiet on Zebes right now, eerily so. I love the music, the sound effects in this game. The sound effects just are very satisfying. There's something very, you know, that ASMR kind of quality to them, I would say. And the soundtrack is just all world, just creepy and atmospheric. And we're going to talk about the composer. The composer is a little bit later with Fluff, but just had to call it out early because it's just one of the best. And as we take this elevator down here, you'll recognize some familiar scenery right here, and go to the left, and just like old times, the Morphing Ball is still here. Blaze? Alright, the classic, the Morph Ball. When we have this, we can squeeze into a little ball, access areas we wouldn't normally be able to. Just like getting out of that section right there, good call. And right here, we're going to aim down at the ground. Kind of crouch and hold L1 to get that lower shot, and then go into the Morphing Ball. come down here and we get our second power-up, our first missiles.
Alright, missiles. Not much to say about these. They're a little more powerful than your basic attack. You can open the red doors with 5 shots, but yeah, missiles. There's a lot of these power-ups to find in this game.
Yeah, it's certainly more powerful than the basic attack we have right now, and there are 46 missile upgrades, so we'll be showing you. You'll be hearing that sound a lot when we're grabbing missiles. So I'm doing something a little unorthodox here, and I'm taking the elevator up before we use missiles on that door. The reason being is that we need to pop in here and get all these enemies to spawn in for the first time. So, no longer the safe, welcoming Zebes. Well, creepy, but welcoming it. There's no one trying to kill us. That's gone. Now everything's trying to kill us. So we need to kill these 5 guys just so we can unlock the door back to the right here. And I know you're probably thinking, Professor, why are we going out of our way here? Just seems like we're needlessly adding time onto this playthrough. This is so that we can access an E-tank earlier than we're meant to, with a little trick that I've discovered here. So now we need our 5 missiles to open the door through this door. There will be a missile upgrade in here, but if you spent some time in this room before and you've shot at the ceiling, which is usually a good instinct actually, then you will find that there is an E-tank hidden right up there, which is, I guess, consistent with the first Metroid. But right here, don't kill this enemy. Just jump very close and get him to knock you right into it. And just like that, we have our first energy tank. And over to the right here, we have our second missile upgrade for 10. But yeah, getting that energy tank early just gives us a little bit of an advantage, make things more manageable. And Blaze, quick overview on the energy tanks.
Alright, the energy tank increases your maximum life in Super Metroid by 100.
There you go, no longer a cap of 99 health, now we have 199 health. Should make the early goings here a little bit easier. We have another energy tank actually, which is going to be just not hidden at all. We'll just happen upon it as we're going to the left here. But now that we have the ability to get into a little ball formation, I'm trying to come up with the right language for it. I'm not sure. You can tell that I'm uncomfortable with it. I'm struggling trying to come up with the right word. When we're morphing, when we're just, let's go morphing. Let's go morphing. Let that be known from here on through the rest of this Super Metroid walkthrough right here on Video Games 101. That will be that's the terminology we're going to be using. So here you don't have to fight these guys, but I just find sometimes it's a little bit easier because when they transition, they knock you down, and sometimes if you don't land on a platform, then it's a very long fall. It can be very frustrating. Possibly to the point of biting down and throwing your controller like we mentioned in the difficulty. Now we're just going to pop back through here, retracing our steps. This time we're going to stop off at this red door now that we have some missiles. Pop it open with 5. Come in here, fight the enemies or don't. Doesn't matter. Part of the luxury of picking up that early energy tank is that you can afford to take less, or take more damage and engage with less enemies. So come to this room and we get our map data for this section of Zebes. Criteria, which I usually get mixed up with Corneria from Star Fox. Then I also get it mixed up with Coneria, which was a town in the original Final Fantasy. Another game which we've done a class on, a walkthrough on here on Video Games 101. Again, all of our classes are available via the link, the link to the playlist in the description. So before we can go through that barrier on the left, we need to morph down here to access this area. Run through here. And we'll use our remaining 5 missiles right there. And right here we got ourselves the bomb, Blaze.
Alright, the Morph Ball bomb. Another classic. We can now drop bombs when we're in Morph Ball form and access areas we wouldn't normally be able to access.
And we got our first boss right after, Gary.
It's Scary Gary's Boss Beaters.
Alright, the first boss you can actually defeat in Super Metroid, Torizo. You want to stand in front of the boss and just fire missiles diagonally up into his chest. when the boss jumps back against the wall and he's about to spit out his little eggs, we're gonna shoot up, hold L and R to aim straight up and fire. This is when you can replace your missiles, replenish them, and just go right back to the body, right back to the chest with those missiles. You'll take him down.
Good call, Gary. Thank you very much. Very effective. And while we're backtracking a bit here, just follow along. Let's bring in Blaze for an overview on the little pickups we can find in Super Metroid from killing enemies.
Alright, let's talk about the items you will find while walking around and killing enemies on Zebes. First, you have the small and the large health refills for 5 and 20 apiece. And then you have the missiles. These come in replenishments of 2. You have the super missiles for 1, and finally the power bombs for 1. Note that these will only appear after you have initially gotten these items. So until you get the power bombs, killing enemies will never drop a power bomb for you. But there you go, the items you'll find walking around Zebes and killing aliens.
That's right, so all we have access to at this point from killing enemies will be missile upgrades. We have a little save pod right there you can use if you so choose. And we're going to use our bombs now to break through and access this area here. Love those creepy glowing skulls. But here is missile upgrade 3 of 46. Brings our total up to 15. And there's one more missile upgrade we need to get in this area before we finally move on. If you bomb here and hold to the right, you can take a slight shortcut, shave 10 seconds off your playthrough here. But drop back down, we're gonna go all the way back down again, unfortunately. Just hug the right wall again and just keep shooting down to take out most of these enemies before they can hit you. But in this kind of in-between area, if we drop a bomb pretty much where that guy was standing, right there in the middle, we can drop down, and this is where we'll find the 4th missile upgrade. This brings us up to 20 missiles for our max capacity. And while we're finally working our way back up to the surface and then heading left to destroy that wall with our newly acquired bombs, let's bring in Fluff for a Fluff fact about Super Metroid. Fluff?
We mentioned this in our class on Metroid, but Samus Aran herself was inspired in equal parts by Sigourney Weaver's main character from Alien, Ellen Ripley, and actress Kim Basinger, who Samus's character creator, Yoshio Sakamoto, had recently seen in the erotic romance film 9.5 Weeks.
Good call, Fluff. I don't think we had that bit about the one of the programmers having seen 9.5 Weeks. Never seen 9.5 Weeks. I remember 9 Months, which is a movie which probably no one remembers. It's just one of those things that it's funny how you have a much better knowledge of obscure movies that probably weren't that good, that are easily forgettable, just based on the decade that you grew up in. So, you know, this was the late 90s. So, yeah, that's the only reason 9 Months comes to mind for me, but we finally blast through that wall right there and carry on to the left, and we'll get ourselves a nice freebie energy tank at the bottom here, so don't worry about taking a little damage ahead of time. It's not like the original Metroid where you might want to save an easily accessible energy tank for late in the game, because it's just, you know, it's harder to stock up on health as easily. This game has a lot of dedicated energy refill points, and it's just lots of areas where you can farm for health and missiles and things like that. I mean, they had that in the first Metroid as well, but yeah, definitely grab that energy tank. So that gives us 2 at this point, making the first quarter of this game a whole lot more manageable. Be showing you, just by virtue of taking the most efficient route here, we'll be showing you the earliest time generally that you can get a lot of the upgrades that will make the game a lot easier for you. As we are now in Brinstar, blasting open this first red door on the left. Use bombs to blow open the entrance to this kind of false wall right here that you can morph through. And we have our map now for the Brinstar area. It always automatically brings it up for you right here. The west side of Zebes, if you will, Brinstar. Good bit of music here too, if I do say so. Another instance where we need to kill the enemies of the screen to carry on here. Sometimes it's just more efficient to just pull out a missile and destroy your enemies that way. We're just going to go across the hall now with 5 more of our missiles. And if you jump up here, you will find the 5th missile upgrade. And we talked a bit about speedrunning earlier on. Let's bring in Fluff now to show how this is an important area for speedrunners for getting an important item which unlocks more of the map earlier than you're meant to. So Fluff, what do you got for us?
One of the earliest route hacks essential to a Super Metroid speedrun involves a tricky maneuver called the Mockball. You can use this to bypass a number of gates barring you from collecting an early super missile upgrade so that you can access otherwise inaccessible areas earlier on. To perform the Mockball here, hold run and run left to right on this ledge, jumping at the last possible second before you go through the door. Release everything except jump while the screen changes through the door, tap down when you come out, and tap right directly before you hit the ground. Continue holding down and right until you've gotten through all the gates and reach the other side.
Thank you, Fluff. It's a cool maneuver if you can pull it off. Took me a little while to get going. Basically how Fluff described it, that's the way to do it, but we'll have super missiles before too long, don't worry. There are 2 missile upgrades to be found in this massive room in Brinstar alone. This is our 6th missile upgrade at the bottom of this giant room for a total of 30 now. If we bomb through here, we can drop down. And just like that, we've found the charge beam. Blaze?
Alright, the charge beam. This allows you to charge up your beam shot to release a stronger burst of energy. You can also use this when you're in Morph Ball to drop 5 bombs for what it's worth, but there you go, the charge beam.
Thank you, Gary. Also want to add that when you hold down that attack button to charge it up, when you do a somersault jump, you're invincible from most attacks, so it's very useful in the right situations. We're jumping back up to the top of this massive room in Brinstar. We'll be cutting back and forth through here a few times throughout the game, but you can see there was a section where you could use the grapple beam, which we do not have yet. There's a missile upgrade there, which we'll grab on the way back. You don't need the grapple to do that. You could just use some of the wall jumps, which we'll talk about. But haven't had to use any of those just yet. Missiles are necessary for taking down the enemies in this room to unlock it so that it can be unlocked. And we have another boss. Let's throw it back to Gary.
Boss beaters.
Alright, the Spore Spawn. You stay on the hard left or right ledge right up against the wall and go into a ball. He can't hit you when he's swinging back and forth. If you're off the wall just by the smallest of margins, he can still hit you. Also note that the spawn, the little spawns, the spores, whatever you want to call them, that are coming down from the ceiling, those can still hit you, so watch out for those. But when he opens the mouth, that's when you want to fire those missiles. You can hit the little spawns, the little spores, to turn them into potential missiles, so you can refill them should you need to, but not too difficult if you stick to this strategy. Bunch of missiles fired in, you'll take him down.
Good call, Gary. Yeah, it's just a matter of getting him to open his mouth to get those shots in, especially when we're all crammed up against the wall right there. As he moves faster, though, you know he's closer to dropping. Maybe open his mouth with a little more consistency. Maybe not. And the color changes a little bit too, gets a little darker, a little more orangish, kind of, I guess, rotting type coloring to the boss here. Just got to use that temporary invincibility of taking damage so that we can actually get past the mouth there and get those shots in. But now the dead boss acts as a platform, so we can jump up here. And I told you it wouldn't take long. Go through this door right here. If you need to restock anything, you can always use these little zebs that come out of the pots here to stock up on energy and missiles. But then drop through as we get that classic creepy Metroid music right here, modernized for the the SNES, but we have our first super missiles. Blaze.
Alright, the super missile. These are 5 times stronger than a normal missile. They are very powerful. We're capped at 50. Make sure you find all these, which the professor will explain. They're very effective against certain bosses in particular, and you need these to open certain doors as well. Very important, the super missiles.
Yep, use those on the green doors. I like that it's so powerful it drops enemies from the ceiling. And they'll now appear, I think with like a 4% chance when we kill enemies as a pickup. So be on the lookout for those if you need them as well. Alright, so time to do some wall jumping here to get this power up. Basically wall jumping, a little tricky as we get our 7th missile upgrade right here. So to do a wall jump, you do a somersault into a wall that you want to jump off of. Hold hard in the opposite direction, followed immediately by the jump button. Holding hard is key to this formula, I have found. It works a lot better when you apply extra pressure to that opposite direction. And that's basically the key to pulling off wall jumps. We'll need to do another one right here to get our 8th missile upgrade. In this long kind of corridor here, which keeps going down, but we got a false pipe right here that we can go through. Maybe not a false pipe, but one that we can go through. But this is our 8th missile upgrade right here. So we now have a max of 40, even though we've gone through some. Obviously, we're showing 20 right now. Only 38 to go. Progress, right? I think these little guys are called Gigas, actually, rather than Zebs. Different names depending on where you are, but use your missile to unlock that barrier right there. Jump up and sprint to get across here. By the way, if you're low on super missiles, right here you can kill these cack attacks with a regular missile, and they'll drop you a super missile, so it's important that we have one actually for this next section, so make sure you have at least one. So little Gigas fly in. We can use our bombs on the floor here to cut through. Won't be going back up that way, not easily at least, but yeah, use your super missile on that green door right there. And you can top off your health. Might be needing it at this stage of the game, unless you've been stopping off and stocking up from the little Zebs and the Gigas and what have yous. Water's very frustrating until we have a certain power-up later on in the game, so try to avoid it. Doesn't hurt you, but it's just annoying to have to run around in, or attempt to move around and jump around in. We need one more super missile, actually, so yeah, take out that cack attack right there with the missile and grab one, and then we're going to do a wall jump after we blast out this chip right above the door. And now, if we just use bombs to come in through this little secret area, we'll get a weapon upgrade. Make sure you're holding to the right when you use that second bomb, because the ground you can see gives out underneath you. You don't want to fall down prematurely. But grab the Spazer here and Blaze the Spazer.
Alright, the Spazer. This splits your normal attack into 3 different spread out beams so you can more likely to hit your target. But yeah, the Spazer just splitting what you've already got into multiple beams for better accuracy.
Alright, thanks Blaze. Yeah, better coverage with that Spazer. Just gets automatically equipped. You can go into your inventory by pressing start and hitting R to get into your all of your upgrades that you have and turn them on or off as you so choose. With this course, you never have to turn anything off. You just, as we grab them, it's just going to default to the best setup, so just something to keep in mind. But head to the right from there and take this elevator down as we are heading into Norfair, the depths of Zebes, the basement. A lot more claustrophobic and cavernous down here. Gonna skip that first super missile door and just go all the way down to the bottom and use 5 missiles on this red door and grab our 3rd energy tank. But we're not done in this room. Jump to the left here and the floor will give out. You can morph your way down underneath here. If you're impatient, just plow through that little gamer. Fire up top here to blast out the wall, and we got ourselves the high jump boots. Blaze?
Alright, the high jump boots. Grab these and you can jump twice as high as you could before.
Makes getting around a little bit easier. Let's see, we'll just go here to show the full height of this jump. Pretty good, pretty good. Alright, so we'll head back up this way now that we can make these jumps with the high jump boots. And right outside the high jump boot room, we get our 9th missile upgrade for a max of 45 now. And just bomb your way back out. And head back out to the right, to the main shaft of Norfair right here. So dropping into Norfair was just a little diversion right there. We're going to head back up now to Brinstar. Don't quite have everything that we need to fully explore Norfair, so just wanted to grab those high jump boots. Should help us with our efforts back in Brinstar. Make sure you have 1 super missile, if not go back and destroy a cack attack with the regular missile, but we're about to enter Kraid's lair and we needed the high jump boots to access Kraid's lair here, and that's why we had to make that stop off in Norfair first. Now use a bomb right at the door to go down here. Bomb this right corner of the floor right there. Morph your way through. If you want to save before, we're about to take on Kraid right here. If you want to save first, drop a bomb right here. Morph through and enter this room right here. Don't worry, there's going to be a missile and a health top off right before we take on Kraid, so it doesn't stock up on our super missiles, but it will top off our regular missiles and our health as well. So that said, if you do need some super missiles, there's kind of a mini Kraid at the end of this hallway right here. We can just missile our way through, and he'll give us, I don't know, well, 4 right there. We'll need 1 to access, alright, 5, yeah. We'll need 1 to access Kraid's actual lair, but shoot the ceiling right here and use a super missile right here, and we can access this room where we can top off our health. And more urgently for our purposes right here, our missiles as well. So this should be at, yeah, 45. Like that detail of the fallen warrior right there. I recommend just using regular missiles here on this eyeball door. Conserve as many super missiles as possible, and let's see what Gary has to say about Kraid. Gary?
Boss beaters.
Alright, Kraid hasn't missed a lot of meals since we last saw him in the earlier Metroid, but yeah, use the super missiles. When he opens his mouth at the start, you can get 3 in to take him down instantly if you're accurate and fast. Otherwise, yeah, just aim for the mouth when he opens it up. Stay close to get those shots in, and yeah, super missiles are the way to go, but it takes a bit longer with the regular missiles. Like Blaze mentioned, the supers are 5 times more powerful, but yeah, not too difficult. If you follow the strategy, just aim for that mouth, you'll take him down.
So yeah, we got 2 of the supers off, and then just finished him off with 5 of the regular missiles right there, so not too difficult. And our reward for taking him down is the Varia Suit. Blaze?
Alright, the Varia Suit. Not only does this cut the damage you take in half, it allows you to survive very hot rooms.
We'll be having a lot of those coming up. Good call, Blaze. Thank you very much. And again, this just gets automatically applied to Samus. So the hits we take won't be nearly as impactful now on us, thankfully. Now we're just backtracking our way. Top off our super missiles again with that, I don't know, Kraid super fan or something. And yeah, kill all the enemies in the room to progress forward. But we're just backtracking here out of Kraid's lair. Although we do have 1 stop off to make before we completely leave. I saw that there was a door early on that we didn't open. So more right here. And now you can see we have the option of opening it. These guys are annoying. Just use bombs to get them off you, but shoot the ceiling right there. And grab yourself your 4th energy tank. Health is looking pretty good now. And just, yeah, kill this little guy to gain access back to this chamber. And just head back out the way you initially came in. And we're done with that stretch. Again, you gotta use one of the super missiles there to gain access, but the Varia Suit will be very important for exploring all of Norfair. We're gonna take the first blue door that we come to. It's a problem with having those super missiles out. I tend to fire them when I don't mean to. Still like the effect that it has, knocking the enemies from their grip on the ceilings and walls. Yeah, we're getting into the areas where we wouldn't be able to withstand the heat in our normal suit before. Plus having that high jump at this point allows us to explore more freely. To the third little section here, we're going to drop down and fire at the ground. We're going to have to go in the lava for just a second, but there we can grab our 10th missile upgrade, bringing our total up to 50 for the game to this point. The lava physics act just like water, unfortunately, so it's a murky mess getting in and out of there. The lava's going to start rising here, so instinctively you might start moving faster and making mistakes, but note that it stops before it rises above any of the platforms here. It's kind of nice, actually. I'm sure the dragons appreciate it. Little guys that are spitting fire at us right there. This is another fairly large room right here. Go down to the right and drop down and start dropping some bombs here. Access a little hidden area. And very quickly we have our 11th missile upgrade. Bringing our total up to 55 max missiles now. I don't know why 230 is the cap. Seems such a arbitrary number, but sure, they had their reasons. So bomb down here. We're not quite finished with this underground part of this room. Bomb through there, and we have a little junction right here. We're going to take the bottom door. Take this first door on the right here. You can restock as necessary right here. The Spazer does a good job. You can also just bomb the floor, but as long as you get right up next to them, you don't have to worry about moving to collect the items, but it's the next best thing to one of those rooms where you just get restocked from a machine. Actually, it might be a little bit better because you can grab your super missiles, and when we get some other upgrades, we'll be able to restock those too, which you can't do from those little missile kiosks. Nice of the baddies to put those all around Zebus, by the way. Once again, another instance where the lava is going to be rising. Just go underneath this alien-looking creature. We're going to be moving up quite efficiently, going through this top door on the left. There's a platform here, just wait for it for a second. Morph to get underneath the spikes right there. Some of this kind of looks like some of the rooms that we had in the original Metroid. The combination of, well, I guess it was sand in those areas, but I'm going to skip the first door. We'll be coming back out of that in just a moment and go to the top red missile door. If you've got the missiles, just go ahead with your basic type right there. You can always use a super missile, but typically want to conserve those since we never have the, got some Mega Man looking hovering platforms right here. Shoot the switch to open the gate right here. And grab our 12th missile upgrade. Bringing our total to 60 now. In this next part, they probably want you to have the grapple beam, but we can do this with just a wall jump. Jump down to the right, hug this wall, do a wall jump low enough so that you can clear that little ledge that's sticking out there. Go up and around and you can grab yourself the wave beam, Blaze.
Alright, the Wave Beam, very powerful weapon, causes your shots to go in a wave-like motion. You can combine this with other beams that you'll get in the game, but very important, goes through walls. Use this to unlock certain barriers, certainly hit a lot of enemies that are hiding behind walls, things like that. The Wave Beam.
Thank you, Blaze. Note the false part of the spiked floor there as we were getting out. And then that brings us back to this vertical corridor once again. Now we're going to go all the way up to the top. And we're a little bit higher up in a room or an area we've already been to. So use a super missile to unlock that door right there. Shoot through the ceiling right here and use your high jump to effortlessly be able to make that jump right there. Stop off here and top off on your health, your missiles, all that good stuff quite quickly. They're kind of nice about giving you what you need sometimes in terms of replenishments. Just run across here and at the very end, shoot just before you go through the door up at the ceiling. Find the 13th missile upgrade for 65. And now we can apply those 5 missiles we just got to opening this door right here. And here it is, the speed booster, making that run we just did a lot more satisfying on the way back. Blaze?
Alright, the speed boost. This allows you to run faster than before, taking down walls and enemies, anything that gets in your way. The speed boost, just hold down A like you always did to run, but run faster.
Very satisfying to run back. And the lava's like, oh god, he's got the speed boost. Let's try to keep up right here. If you need to top anything else off, go ahead and do that, but we're going to head back down. This brings us back into this large chamber which we were in earlier. This time we're just going to drop down to the bottom. And remember when we went through the floor and we went through that bottom door, this time we're going to go through that floor again, get back to that area, but this time we're going to go through that left door between the two. Ultimately, this is going to kind of give us a shortcut back to the main corridor of Norfair, where we can use our super missiles to access a new area and, well, a combination of our moves to grab the Ice Beam, which we'll use to continue exploring Norfair. We're going to use our super speed booster. I think I added a needless super there, but that's very satisfying, killing all the enemies and knocking out those blocks. You can do a save right there if you need to. And now we're going to pop up. Still can't open that door. Don't have the power up we need yet, but we can open this super missile door right here. Start sprinting as soon as you come out of this door to clear all of these little barriers. Don't have the power bomb yet, but that's what that symbol was right there. These platforms start to sink when you stand on them, just a little heads up right there. Alright, so in this room you can go up and around. I just like to jump and immediately double tap down and make a little shortcut for ourselves right there. It's an easy move to do, so just as soon as you jump, just tap down twice, hold to the right, come through here and get the Ice Beam. Very important item, Blaze.
Alright, the Ice Beam is a classic. Freeze your enemies so you can stand on them, turn them into platforms, or just protect yourself from some Metroids late in the game, but there you go, the Ice Beam.
Very satisfying for putting these aliens on ice. Love that sound effect of the enemy turning into ice. Kind of a crunching, collapsing sound, whatever you want to call that. So yeah, freeze these guys, especially this guy over here. If you get him at his full height, you could just morph right through that hole. Otherwise, use a bomb and prop yourself up there if you're close enough. Drop down here and morph your way to the right. For the exit, we still don't have those power bombs, so we can't go through that floor at the end of that corridor right there. But now that we have our Ice Beam, we have some more areas which will be accessible to us. You can use that same maneuver to pop up right there with just jumping and then quickly double tapping down to go into a Morph Ball right there. You get more comfortable the more you play the game, you'll find, you know. Once you get to around the Norfair area where we are right now, you'll just you'll start to cruise, start to hit a nice little pocket in the gameplay where it all starts to make sense to you. That was my experience the first time I was running it, at least. Nice putting these guys on ice, using them as little platforms. Or at least stopping their projectiles, these dragons. Keep them from launching little balls of lava up at us. Alright, so in this room we want to freeze one of these waivers to make a little step for us. A couple of these waivers, really. Let them start to bounce and move to the right. Get a little... We need a little more height there, even with our high jump. We can't quite make that. There we go. That's where the R1 works quite nicely. Get them when they're well above you. We now have the... This should be the 14th missile upgrade, bringing our total up to 70 missiles, max. We're not quite done here though. Shoot up right here, do your jump, and then quickly double tap down while you're holding to the left to morph ball into that little hole right there. And carry on in this room, freezing everything that moves. You'll note that that last little platform right there is our 15th missile upgrade. So grab that. But we also just grabbed our first reserve tank. Blaze, reserve tanks?
Alright, the reserve tank allows you to add extra energy into them when you're at full health so that when you drop down below and you need to go into those reserves, you have them available.
Yeah, they'll automatically kick in, so that'll light up once you have some health in that tank. So it'll remain blue until we get to full health, and then grab some health on top of that to start to fill up however many reserve tanks we have at that time. So now we'll drop all the way back down in this main chamber, and once again we're going to head down through this middle area. I promise this is still the most efficient 100% completion route. We're going to go through that left door again, but this time we're going to bomb the floor. Right here. And go to the left here. You can stock up on anything that you might need to here, but using our wave beam we can shoot our way through on this side to hit that switch. As we descend deeper into the bowels of Norfair, which is itself the bowels of Zebus. Go through this right door here and you'll get an energy recharge station, so you can top off your health right here. But we're going to cut back to the left, ignoring that right door for the moment. Just ignore these guys and rush through. Go through this door right here. We need to go down here, but if you want to save first, we have a save station right up above. You'll see if we pick this up, we'll start to fill up our reserve tank right there, as that auto went from blue to yellow to show that we do have some health in the tank should we need it. So now it's time to go down and take on the next boss here in Super Metroid, using a super missile right here. With tips on how to beat this next one, let's go back to Gary.
Boss beaters.
Crocomire. I'm gonna stay just out of the reach of his claws and then fire charge shots when he opens his mouth. No need to waste missiles on this guy. Just keep repeating this to force him back into the lava. He'll take him down.
Good call, Gary. And while we're doing this, I'm told, Fluff, you have a Fluff fact about Crocomire?
Crocomire's tongue is actually a separate enemy which can actually be killed. The Super Metroid speedrunning community has discovered that it takes more than 80 power bombs to take it down. So unless you have an hour or so to kill waiting for them to appear at their 4% spawn rate, maybe just drop him in the lava.
Which is what we're doing here. Yeah, that's interesting. File that under mildly interesting, but we also don't have super, or the power bombs yet, so yeah, just push him back on that flooring right there. It's kind of a gruesome death. I feel bad for, I mean, he was trying to kill us, but I guess the fact that he wasn't doing a very good job kind of makes me feel more sorry for him. And if you follow to the left here, you can see what looks like some last gasps from Crocomire, perhaps. Phase 2, Gary, do we need you? Are we No. No. Looks scary. Probably freaked me out when I was a kid, but if you were on the right side, you'd probably be like, why is the music still playing? But yeah, come over here to grab some items. But now I'm going to run all the way to the right and jump at the last second and do a little wall jump right here to grab ourselves another energy tank. No reason to wait on that one. I guess the intended way to get that is through using the Grapple Beam, which we don't have yet, but yeah, I'll certainly trade off losing 80 damage or whatever it is for grabbing myself an extra energy tank a little bit earlier. So once you've dismantled Crocomire, or melted him, or burned him, whatever it is, we don't need to dwell on it. We're going to head back this way. And head back through the top door here. We can't do too much else in Norfair right now, so we're effectively exiting back out, using our speed boost to head back to that main corridor and then heading back to Brinstar. So while we're doing a little backtracking, let's throw it back to Fluff for another Fluff fact about Super Metroid. Fluff?
Just like the original Metroid, Super Metroid features a number of slightly different endings depending on how quickly you finish the game. Better said, Samus herself appears slightly differently depending on how quickly you finish it. If you take 10 or more hours, Samus stares at you in her full suit. Beat the game in 3 to 10 hours, and she removes her helmet. If you can beat the game in less than 3 hours, which we're showing you how to do here, and with a 100% completion no less, well, you'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we will get there eventually. Thank you very much, Fluff. Let's head to the left here. So yeah, 3 hours is the cutoff. In terms of actual game time, I think you can expect, if you follow this walkthrough, to get it, just a little bit over 2 hours. Probably 2 to 2.5 hours. Somewhere in that pocket, certainly under 3 hours, so you're in good shape. Yeah, I hate the water. Really do. Can't wait till we get a special suit, which offsets the negative impact of being in the water, which we will certainly need for one of the upcoming sections of this game, which is completely water. So we're still backtracking through areas we've already been, but now that we got the ice beam, we can use it on these, they're called rippers, these guys. We saw them back in the original Metroid as well. And just ride those 4 up. Blast back through the floor right there. If you pick up one of these little guys, just, bomb them off you. Now we can easily go higher here with our high jump, not having to rely on any fancy moves or anything. Ride the rest of these guys up by freezing them. Now we have a new little section of Brinstar. We're about to get our first power bomb, which will be nice because we've seen a lot of orange doors to this point, seen a couple floors which have the power bomb symbol on them. You can see we can't even go back the way we came until we have a power bomb. So bomb through the floor right here as soon as you come out of that door. Use a super missile on this green door here. Freeze these little enemies here. It's better if you get them before they pop out, so just do it from a distance there. And there we go, our first power bombs. Blaze.
Alright, the power bomb. This damages everything on the screen, opens certain doors so you can further the game, but very powerful weapon right there, the power bomb.
Use one right there to get the 16th missile upgrade, by the way. Just love how it takes out the entire wall just like that. Once again, make your way back, freezing these little guys. So now we can leave, open that orange door, but before we do, we have a bit more to explore in this area. Got a save point there to the right if you want to stop off and use it, by the way. These guys are just more annoying than anything. Just get them out of the way. Use a power bomb right here. And then if you go through this false flower right there, grab yourself the second power bomb upgrade, just like that. 1, 2. So now we have a max of 10. All before I think we found our second super missile upgrade, actually. Keep going up when you come out, and this elevator is going to take us back to Criteria, back to the surface of Zebes, where we can grab a few more things. Use a power bomb right here to open this top door, also the only door. So once we get to the top, we're going to go to the left. We're actually to the right of our ship where we started the game, so we can stop in on our ship whenever we want throughout the game and top off every single thing that we have. It's not just like one of those missile upgrades or health upgrades. This will max out everything that we have, including our power bombs right now. I see we need 3 of those, so might as well get topped off here. You can save while you're here on your ship. Now we're going to head back to the right a little bit and give ourselves some running room. Stop right here, get some running room, and right before our ship, we're going to do a big old jump right here. Use a power bomb. You'll probably land somewhere around here, and above you, jump as that's going off to clear out the wall right here. And you can duck inside this hidden little area. Just using the power bomb to clear everything out here. Don't use these for combat against bosses nearly as much as the super missiles, so we can be a little more liberal with our use of the power bombs. But yeah, that's how we advance this area to get to this door. And you'll find the 6th energy tank waiting for you right here. And if it looks like there might be something going on with that floor, good eye. You're starting to feel it. Drop a bomb right there and morph right through. Once again, we need our power bombs to make progress right here. Definitely need both of those upgrades, which we just got back in Brinstar, and use one more to open up those spikes right there, that spiky wall. This is a tricky room right here. You want to jump right at that divider between those 2 center bricks. So right here, and then ride these down, shoot the left wall, and jump before it gets too low. Jump right about there. And if you do it right in the middle, then you can get both missile upgrades at once without having to backtrack. This is the 17th and the 18th missile upgrades right here, so yeah, if you're not right in the center, it's gonna favor you either on the left or the right side, so you'll be kept away from the other column, essentially, and you'll have to go back and do that whole thing again, which is, you know, it's annoying. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's annoying. So if we can save any time, shave couple minutes off, then that's the way to do it right there. So just be careful when you make that jump. So we might as well head back and restock at our ship now, since we used all but one of our power bombs. Being that it's right here and we have so few opportunities to where we find ourselves back on the surface of Zebes to top off our numbers right here. Definitely do it before you head back out. So I may have lied before or misspoken when I said that we were done with that lab area, but we want to pop in there one more time now that we do have the power bombs. You know, other things open up to us once we have certain power-ups. At this point, we have all of the secondary type item power-ups in that sense, the different types of weapons. We have more beam upgrades and things like that, but at least for the purposes of exploring, we have most of the items that we need at this point. So yeah, come on down here, all the way down until we hit this one platform. You might be wondering, why is this here when there's no platforms generally? Until this point, use a power bomb, and we unlock a secret area here. Use one more to open the door. Here we're going to have to use a special move built in the game called the Shinespark first freeze these guys, make sure you don't get too close or they'll jump up, but then run back, run at full speed. As soon as you start to turn blue, press down, you'll flash. That's when you want to jump up in the air, hold up and press jump. And you'll do something called a Shinespark, which allows you to just basically do a super fast vertical jump in the air to get that second super missile power up right there. But that allows us to bust our head through whatever obstacle that was blocking us from just doing conventional wall jumping and things like that to get up there. But once you grab that power up, head back down. We're gonna go a little bit deeper this time, all the way down to the bottom. We're gonna ride that elevator down once again, and just to the left where we grabbed our Morphing Ball power up initially, we can use our power bomb to knock out that wall. I guess if you didn't already get that energy tank to the right, you could grab that now, but yeah, we grabbed it pretty easily just by letting that enemy knock us up into the ceiling right there to get it. Yeah, jump over here, grab a power bomb right here at the edge of this wall to clear through, and grab the third power bomb upgrade, bringing our total up to 15. We're just going to keep on moving through here, take out these guys to unlock the door, but this is going to take us back to Brinstar. So this takes us back into that massive hub back in Brinstar, and you might remember there being an orange door we couldn't open before on the right side, so we're going to head back over there now that we have our power bombs and drop one right here. And it's best to take these guys out before you try anything. And use your wave beam to open that lock right there, and then do these. One wall jump should do it right there to get up and over. And now we have our 7th E-Tank. We're halfway home on the E-Tanks now. 7 of 14. Nothing else to do in this room, don't get too excited. I like the sense of exploration though. Shoot the floor here to travel up in style with a very slow moving elevator. So now back in the main room, we're going to access a very sneaky area. Remember where we used wall jumps to get a missile upgrade right here? We can freeze that guy and make that jump a little bit easier, but use a power bomb just beneath where we picked up that missile upgrade and go through the wall right here. It's a false wall. And we need to put a super missile right there in that little groove right there you can see where the ground is a little uneven to get our 4th power bomb upgrade, bringing our total up to 20 now. Just shoot that wall and it'll open up. You can use bombs to get through here. And once again, a little elevator. It's going to be a power up, which we're going to get a little bit later, which will let us jump when we're in the morphing state. But until then, elevator to the rescue. And this time in this massive room, we are going to head above the grapple squares right there and through this door to the left. This will take us back towards the earlier areas of Brinstar. If you run here, you'll take out the floor with your speed boost. Strictly speaking, it's not necessary to come down here, but just to show you, that little creature is called a Decora. There's an energy refill station right here. But yeah, just to show you, this little Decora shows you how to do the Shinespark, essentially. If you give him time, he'll run over to the right. Apparently he knows how to do it too. He's got the speed boost. Little, I don't know, emu-looking kind of alien type thing. Not really sure how you want to describe that, but one of the few friendlies here in Super Metroid, here on Zebes. I think there's only two types of creatures that won't try to kill you in this game for the most part. Could be maybe some more exceptions I'm not thinking of, but they're the two friendlies. But yeah, get back to this main corridor right here, and we're going to use our speed booster this time to go through here the proper way. We'll grab that super missile upgrade that Fluff showed us with the Mockball trick earlier in just a second, but first, grab your second reserve tank right here. And you'll notice that if you morph right here, you probably already caught this one, but go through there and grab yourself the 19th missile upgrade, bringing our total up to 95. But wait, there's more. Go to the right here, bomb the wall, get the 20th missile upgrade. How sneaky is that right there? So we now have a total of 100 missiles. Nice round number. Let's add to our super missiles here by shooting up into the ceiling. Again, Fluff showed this earlier when he was showing you the Mockball technique for getting this a little bit earlier. But we now have our third super missile upgrade, bringing our total up to 15. Just drop on the pedestal for it and you'll fall through the floor and get back out easily that way. Now use a power bomb at the very bottom of this corridor right here. Drop all the way down to the bottom. And go through this blue door right here. And have some fun with these guys again. They don't come through the door with you, so you can just do that. Alright, be very careful here. So count 4 tiles between you and the E-Tank. And basically drop down to a morph state, fire a bomb, and as soon as it explodes, hold hard left because there is a false gap in the floor right there. So don't want to fall through there, but there's our 8th energy tank, and this is our 4th super missile upgrade. So just collecting power-ups left and right here in Brinstar. Head back out, and now we can actually drop through that floor right there. There is a save room right here to the left. If you want to save your game, go ahead and do so. By the way, I'm never actually hitting, I think it's A to save your game. I'm just standing on it and being prompted. Just want to make that clear. You get a nice little sound effect if you do it right. Power bomb's certainly a good way to get everybody off your back right here. This is a frustrating area. Either way, with all the spikes above and below you and those guys grabbing on. Those little guys are called Edicoons. They're the other friendlies that you'll find in Zebus. The only other characters that don't want to kill you, seemingly. This is kind of a tricky move to make right here. You want to do a wall jump and then quickly, once you get enough height above it, double tap down to get into that morph state. Hold hard right and come on in here. Grab your 5th power bomb. And yeah, difficult to... Thankfully they give you a little edge, so you have to go all the way back down. But yeah, just hold hard in the opposite direction as soon as you hit that wall when you're somersaulting. And then hit A and you'll generally get a good wall jump going that way. But use a power bomb to get back through the floor at this point. We're going to head back to the right. It's nice when you can actually get the speed. I did not mean to do that. I just got sick of those enemies hitting me. I thought a little temporary invincibility would be nice. As much as I love hanging out with Decora there. Dechora? Not sure. What's your pronunciation? Your preferred pronunciation, class? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. But we're going to head back down. All the way down. And take this bottom right door again. That's pretty satisfying. Just gotta work in that gap right there. Basically just retracing our steps once again to get back to Norfair. So while we're doing that, let's throw it back to Fluff for another Fluff fact about Super Metroid. Fluff, what do you got for us?
We talked about the slightly different endings you can get in Super Metroid based on how long it takes you. While that's again similar to Metroid, one difference between the games is that Super Metroid actually displays your playtime at the end of the game. This has helped it become one of the earliest games which popularized the activity of speedrunning in the early to mid-90s. Utilizing a number of difficult-to-pull-off gameplay hacks and glitches and relying on an encyclopedic knowledge of this game, speedrunners have managed to 100% this game in under an hour at this point. For what it's worth, the in-game timer, which is used to calculate your final time, isn't constantly running. According to Super Metroid's speedrunning wiki page, the timer pauses when you access the pause menu, transition between rooms, have a message box on the screen, during lag, when Samus is dead at 0 energy, and the Seri Station cutscene. It's definitely something else to behold the best speedrunners playing this game to pitch-perfect ability, but we're happy with our efficient 100% completion route and strategies here, which won't require you to run this game until you're fired from your job and your spouse leaves you and takes the kids.
That's what it takes. Some may call it a problem, others call it commitment. Let's head through this door right here with our power bomb and finally get the map for this section of Zebes here in Norfair. Now that we have our power bombs, our first stop is going to be going back through that sprinting area right here. And then remember, we ran over a gap which revealed that we would need some power bombs if we wanted to go down right here. So we got the power bombs. Let's drop one. Got a whole welcoming committee down here, lots of craziness. So we got a missile upgrade here. Do not run through this door. Walk through this door and then hold back to the right as soon as you come through. Freeze this little guy right here. Jump on him in one move if you can, but yet shoot diagonally up here and reveal our 21st missile upgrade for 105. But that is a tricky missile upgrade to get if you don't do it that way in my experience. These platforms all give out pretty much immediately, so you gotta time it just right, but being that there are so many of them, it's very difficult. But anyway, do it like that. Go down to the bottom, speed boost all the way across here, and we're gonna head back down into Crocomire's lair here. Remember Crocomire? Poor Crocomire. We're gonna head to the left here, through the wall that he knocked down with his last gasp. And you can restock right here if you need to, right quick. Doing pretty well here, actually. You can see we're getting our health back up to respectable 8 tanks. Got to save to the right if you want to use it. And we can actually, if we have a little bit of speed, if you just jump at the very edge of that platform to the left, just by virtue of having the high jump boots. And you should be able to come in here and grab your 6th power bomb upgrade, bringing our total up to 30 now. Back in the main room, we're going to drop down, fire through the floor, and we're going to drop down all the way. Use some missiles to open this door right here. See my impatience at this stage in the game, just using the super missiles. And run through here, avoiding as much of the water lava as you can. Doesn't look like pure lava to me, but there's our 22nd missile upgrade right there, bring our total to 110. Easy to keep track of when I haven't fired any missiles in a while, so we just keep that number nice and pristine, commensurate with the number of upgrades which we've gotten to this point. Alright, keep going down in the tunnel here. Gotta use a couple moves here to get to where we want to go. First, drop a power bomb as soon as you come out of here on the ground to get rid of all this debris, give you some running room. And now, we just need to, well, we gotta clear out these enemies. Die. Now run back here, use the full range, and then jump at the very edge. Your speed boost will clear out that debris right there. And inside, you'll find the Grappling Beam. We'll have Blaze talk about this in just a second, but first, we have the most probably difficult application of this item in this game to get the 23rd missile upgrade. So equip this, and grab this first Ripper here, go maximum length on it, and then release at the maximum velocity right there, as you can see, as we did on this third one. A little less velocity, more of a rocking motion to give ourselves some more hang time to catch on to the fourth one, and then swing over to the missile. Very happy I did that. I don't always do that on the first try, so. Blaze, we just saw it in action, but yeah, what do you got on the grappling beam?
Alright, the grapple beam, very fun for getting around, kind of like Bionic Commando style. You can use these at grapple points to swing around, and also very effective against one boss in particular, which Gary will mention later.
Yes, he will. Thank you very much, Blaze. That's a fun boss battle when you do it that way, but we'll let Gary talk about that once we get there. So now you can see we ran back into the room where we got the beam in the first place, and you can see right here they give you some low stakes opportunities to get familiar with the grappling beam. Not like we did with those rippers just now, but that's alright. We're using this to basically, it's just a shortcut to get back out of here, back to the main area. Let's swing across here. And swing across here and use yourself a super missile to unlock that barrier. And now we're coming back out where we initially passed by earlier on. Again, we got that save point down in the bottom right. If you want to hit it up, you can go ahead and do that right now. We're going to keep moving on. Back in Crocomire's lair here on the back side. So we're going to head back up through the entrance, or the exit, whatever you want to call it, but earlier we saved before we took on Crocomire. We showed you where the save spot was. We're going to keep going up this time. And the door in the top left, we can stop in. And take the high road here. Use our grappling beam now. Grab yourself the 24th missile upgrade right here. After you grab it, use your super missile to unlock the gate right here, and we're back underneath the initial kind of vertical corridor of Norfair right here. And we're just going to head straight up and take the elevator back to Brinstar at this point. So I actually lied again, maybe for the first, maybe for the second time, but we do need to head back through the right to go into Kraid's lair one last time. Thankfully his lair is very small. Just probably, what, 4 different areas. Use your bomb right there, and we're going to head back in. These are power bombs, which we did not have last time we were coming through here. So we're going to go up against this wall right here and use a power bomb. Use our wave shot to reveal a sneaky little missile upgrade. That's our 25th right there. That's literally all we had to do here in Kraid's lair, so let's head back out. Say Kraid? Kraid? Kraid. Head back out to Brinstar now. We can actually access a new area in Meridia right now if we dropped a power bomb right there in that tube. But we're not quite ready for Meridia. I want to grab a few more goodies back here in Brinstar. We're going to head back to that very long corridor, and there is a door which we can open via a power bomb, which we could not before. We may have unlocked it already, just when we were passing through. I may have launched a power bomb just to, in the interest of getting through the area a little bit faster, because I do tend to get impatient. But either way, it's this door right here. You can see it on the map that we haven't accessed it yet. So if you just drop one right here, certainly kill this little creature, and then unlock this door. Try not to kill the little light guys, the fire fleas. They are the ones literally lighting this room up, so each one we kill, the room gets a little bit darker, a little bit harder to see what we're doing, so we try to keep them alive. They will hurt us if they touch us, but other than that, they're pretty innocuous. A lot of Tarzan right there with our Grappling Beam. And then come on through here, hit this elevator right up top, and X-ray scope. Blaze?
Alright, the X-ray scope allows you to see through walls so you can see hidden items, things you might be able to break, things like that, hidden passages. If you want to pull it out, go ahead, but generally the professor's going to tell you where and what you can break, see, grab, etc. But there you go, the X-ray scope.
Do right, Blaze. Yeah, it's a waste of time if you ask me, but in the interest of showing you everything in this game, had to grab the X-ray scope, obviously, to get that 100% completion. But yeah, we'll show you where to use everything. You can see the room got a little bit darker when we killed that fire flea right there. If we just freeze them, we get to maintain our... Yeah, those spikes are frustrating. You can still kind of make out where you're going, though, so if you got to clear a couple of them out just to... for practicality purposes. No harm, no foul. We're progressing back up here. As we did before, just freezing these guys to get to this upper deck area. If you recall, this essentially leads to the elevator back to Criteria, where we're going to be back on the surface of Zebes. And this time we're going to head right. Instead of going left to our ship, we can now open up a locked door by way of our power bombs. Once again, you have that save game room right there to the right if you need to use it. And we're just going to head right on up. Get a few more missile upgrades and such along the way. Yeah, this is the crashed ship portion of this Super Metroid walkthrough. Very creepy. We don't learn about what happened to the ship until, I think, a couple Metroid games later. They work in the story and all that, but this one, obviously just swing a little bit and then cut it to get that 26th missile upgrade right there. Ideally, you'll land on that platform so you don't have to fall in the water and get back up. Again, I hate the water physics until we have the suit which fixes it. Never mean to use that. The X-ray scope right there. Just slows you down as you're switching through all your different weapons and trying to run at the same time. But dip down in the water once you come out to this open area. Drop a bomb right there, a power bomb, and you'll find the 27th missile upgrade right here. Backtrack through the water, which is so slow, I bet we can sneak in a Fluff fact. Fluff?
If the sound effects of many of the bosses, in particular in Super Metroid, sound familiar, they're actually samples taken directly from a variety of Godzilla movies. Midway through development, it was decided that the existing SNES sound effects they had weren't cutting it, so they employed the relatively rarely used technique at the time of sampling.
I thought those sounded familiar. I thought it was just their attempt at a Godzilla sound, but that makes sense as we grab one of these rippers right there. Being very careful not to fall into the water beneath us, so we'd have to work our way back there. And here we are at the entrance of a broken down ship, which I guess crash landed on Zebes. Gotta restore power, but before we do it, we're gonna drop down here and drop a bomb against the wall. There's gonna be a lot more enemies once we do turn on the power, so enjoy it while it lasts. The spikes don't even hurt us as we grab the 28th missile upgrade. And now we're going to head back to the central chamber and go all the way down to the bottom and take on the boss of the crashed ship here. Phantoon, I believe his name is. He sounds fun, but he's actually, he's kind of rough. But I'm sure Gary, as always, has a top-notch strategy to employ to make taking him down a whole lot easier. To get to him, go all the way down to the bottom, morph down into a ball, just bomb through the wall here, And use a super missile if you want on the eye right there. And with tips on how to take down Phantoon, let's go back to Gary.
Boss beaters.
Alright, Phantoon, you want to use your charged jumps to avoid taking damage from the flames. This will give you that temporary invincibility. You want to fire super missiles after the boss drops 2 sets of flames and then appears solid. That's when you want to hit him with the super missile. Repeat this process, you'll take him down. I should mention that if you don't use super missiles, you can avoid one annoying move that he does of going to the top middle and firing like jump ropes worth of flames. But if you just use that charged jump to avoid the somersaults, to avoid taking the flame damage, this is still the more efficient way of taking him down because those super missiles make this fight a lot shorter. So that's what I recommend. Take him down.
Thank you, Gary. I had a good time to remind you that when you're charged up with your charge beam and you do a somersault jump, you're invulnerable from a lot of damage. So won't take damage from the fire, which the Phantoon is launching out at us. And seeing as Gary recommends the super missiles, that's the move you gotta do, so. Doesn't take a whole lot to put him down, but you can see, just like the plant-based boss earlier, he's changing colors with the more damage we inflict upon him. Okay, just transition side to side with your little somersault jumps, staying safe. Not so much difficult with this strategy, it's just frustrating because it takes a while. I mean, this boss takes a while in general, no matter what strategy you're using. This is the most efficient way to take him down. Still takes a minute. In fact, I bet we could bring in Fluff for another Fluff fact in the time it takes us to beat him. So, Fluff, what do you got for us?
It was initially planned that when the player lost a life, Samus would scream and her suit would explode, revealing her naked body beneath. This was understandably ultimately changed to giving her clothes beneath the suit and having the screen replaced as it was deemed to be too sexual by the Nintendo powers that be. That first screen was recorded by Minako Hamano, one of the music composers on Super Metroid, as well as the Game Boy's Link's Awakening.
There you go, 2 great soundtracks right there, and well, we're still going here with Phantoon. That death scream, though, when you pitch it down, it still sounds kinda sexual. Kinda makes you want to hear the original one to see what they replaced, but certainly her losing her clothes. I don't know that that was necessary. Or losing her suit and being naked underneath it, I guess better said. She always loses her suit, but it was just an argument of should she be naked beneath that suit? They always come close with if you post a good time. Bit of a mini spoiler there for what we're in for. If we beat the game sub 3 hours, finally he goes down. Don't appreciate filling time like this, Phantoon. He goes with that kind of distorted effect. They use that with a lot of SNES games, actually. And we should get a whole bunch of goodies here for taking him down. There you go. Exit the way you came in. So now that we defeated Phantoon, good news is the power has been restored to the ship. The bad news is there's more baddies to contend with. As you can see, you got these Dalek-looking robots from Doctor Who. Don't hurt you so much. It's just kind of annoying. They'll try to trap you in a corner and just being a general nuisance for the most part. We can get the layout of the crashed ship here with the map, the wrecked ship, excuse me. You can see there's not a lot to it. It's far and away the smallest area, at least relative to the bigger areas in Super Metroid. I'm gonna head back up now. Still a few goodies to collect on this ship. Second time I've used the goodies in a very short span right there, but that's alright. Head to the left here and grab yourself probably the easiest super missile upgrade you'll get in the game. Sure, we had to, I guess, wrestle with Phantoon first to restore power, but we're not done on this level yet. Bomb in the bottom right corner here. And travel through, you'll find another door. And And more of these Dal kind of robots just being annoying. Use a power bomb right here. And grab yourself another super missile upgrade, the 6th one. Collecting these left and right now all of a sudden. I'm not mad about it. These things are very effective against the bosses. Head back to the main corridor now for the wrecked ship. And we're going to continue heading upwards. We're going to hold off going through this right door. First, we're going to head, we got another save spot here if you need it, right there on the right. We're going to go up and knock out the ceiling here. This is going to take us back out to Criteria, ultimately, where we have a few upgrades we can grab. This is kind of an annoying room. You got to kill all the enemies before the doors will open each time. And they're kind of spread out too. Just work one side to the other. You want to go to the right first. Now this door will unlock. And just kind of force these guys back through shots. Get them to dip down into these little dips for them. I guess they kind of look like R2-D2 as well, now that I think about it. You can see it waiting for us, the 29th missile upgrade right there. Now we're just going to backtrack, clear out the enemies, and go out the left door this time. This will take us outside to Criteria, where we have a number of sneakily hidden power-ups to grab. It's a good time to mention, I'm just thinking to myself, like, you know, people really love this game, deservedly so, in the 90s, to find all of these secrets. I mean, sure, I guess I'm being naive. There were probably just, you know, your basic hint books, like literal physical hint books back in the 90s, where you could find all this stuff. But gotta imagine there were a lot of people that, you know, painstakingly bombed every single wall. They just tried everything, and that's part of the appeal of this game, really. Exploration. So ride this platform all the way to the left until you see one above you, then jump on that, and then we're going to shoot and jump, or we're going to jump and then shoot while we're going to the left to reveal and collect our 30th missile upgrade right there. Best way to grab that. Alright, I feel like we're contractually obligated for a Super Metroid walkthrough or playthrough to use the X-ray, so let's equip it right now and check it out right here. Very sneaky. Use the super missile, more right there. Got a little network of tunnels down here, but if we just come over here, get the 31st missile upgrade. And now the frustrating part. We have no way to go except to drop back down. Drop a bomb right here and just drop on down. And we're back in this section now, so we need to go pretty much back exactly where we just were, going through the ship, up through the top, and going outside that left door once again, because a little bit more that we need to grab before we finish on the ship itself. So, kind of annoying, but that's part of the 100% right there. A little bit of backtracking. While we're doing that, let's bring in Fluff for another Fluff fact. Did it again right there. Fluff.
This will probably come as a shock to the many beloved fans of the Metroid series, but Metroid co-creator Yoshio Sakamoto had to continually fight to get Super Metroid greenlit, repeatedly appealing to his bosses at Nintendo until they finally gave the go-ahead in late 1991. The Game Boy's creator and Nintendo bigwig Gunpei Yokoi in particular believed Super Metroid would be a flop, and was purportedly growing angrier and angrier the more work that was put into the game, even going to the lengths of cutting the game's budget and threatening to cancel it on multiple occasions. Happily, when they completed the game, Yokoi purportedly became a big fan of it and played it quite a bit himself.
Interesting. Yeah, I read the quote as we bomb right here. I think he said something along the lines of, what are you, like, trying to make a work of art here? You know, what's taking so long, basically? Little did he know. They really were. That's not, we're not being hyperbolic there, grandiose with that language. It really is that good, so nice to see that he came around once he finally got to play it in the end. But by the way, Yoshi got his namesake from Yoshio Sakamoto, the director of this game, co-creator of the Metroid series, so fun fact there. And these ones will give out the ones that look a little worse for wear. So go into a morph shape right here, and have the Torizo kind of clutch you, the statue. This is a sneaky one right here. And he's going to walk right to left. And then this part really creeped me out when I was a kid, when the camera starts panning down. He takes you down into the depths of this ship here. But happily, we get a sweet item out of it. And that item is the gravity suit. Blaze?
Alright, the gravity suit. No more slugging through the water, the swamps, the magma. Are there swamps? I don't know. But anyway, you go at normal speed, and it also cuts damage to Samus by 25%.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Blaze. Finally have it, so we can move around at normal speed in the water and head down and take out this R2 Dalek looking guy here. So we have some more items to be found over here. Starting with missile upgrade number 32. After you grab this, get down and use a power bomb to watch the statue and the wall behind it disintegrate, and then run full speed and do a Shinespark right before you hit that wall, and use that to jump straight up and access the third of the reserve tanks here in Super Metroid. Doing pretty good on health now. It's finally time to go back to the main part of the ship and access that one door which we have yet to open. One below the save area. How nice is that? Couldn't make that jump before. When we were stuck under the water, mind the many spikes here. Probably take a little bit of damage, it's about 15 per. Remember, that would have been a lot more before we got our Varia and our gravity suits, so now we're taking a quarter of the damage that we were taking at the start of the game. Shoot up into the ceiling here to reveal a hidden area. Another one, yes, that's right. Can you believe it? Just conditioned to expect these things at this point. But I love all the sneakiness. Yeah, note, again, these are the ones that'll give away if you hang on them for a little too long. Just take these platforms across and grab your... What are we on, our 9th E-Tank at this point? So many E-Tanks. Energy tanks, specifically, but I guess I'm in a Mega Man mindset right here with the E-Tanks. Just recently did our class on Mega Man X, which, incidentally, I guess after I changed the controls, has the same kind of setup with A being dash, B being jump, and Y being fire, of course. Alright, so at this point we need to backtrack to, I don't know if you remember, this was a while ago, I mentioned kind of a glass airlock just outside the entrance to Norfair back in Brinstar. If we had gone through that door where we just neglected, just below the ceiling which gave away to get that energy tank, if you go to the right there and you go through that way, it's sort of a back entrance to Meridia, or maybe this is the back entrance to Meridia, where we're going right now. It's a bit more efficient in terms of grabbing all the items if we come in from the back way rather than going in the top way, I guess, with respect to the map. So that's why we're backtracking now and just taking those elevators back down to ultimately the Brinstar area and that little glass airlock that I pointed out before. So let's speed this up a little bit, and to dull the boredom, let's say, let's bring in Fluff for another Fluff fact about Super Metroid. Fluff?
Despite Super Metroid's success and critical acclaim, Sakamoto intended to make Super Metroid the final game of the series. Then, 8 years later, American developer Retro Studios worked with Nintendo without Sakamoto's involvement to make the first-person Metroid Prime. Sakamoto wasn't happy with the decision to revive the property after where he left it, so he made Metroid Fusion in retaliation to ensure he was still involved in the series he created. Despite all this, there were loose plans for a Metroid 64 for the Nintendo 64, but it was abandoned when the team couldn't come up with any solid ideas. Sakamoto considered making it for a brief period himself, but didn't know how the Nintendo 64's controller would translate to moving Samus, and he believed it was just too soon for him to make a 3D Metroid game in the wake of Super Metroid.
Perfect timing, thank you very much, Fluff. This would have been a hell of a game to go out on, I will say. Just give it a second for that power bomb to take effect, but that's where you want to drop one. Very cool effect right there. Meridia is above us, but if you want to save, come on down here and do so in the pod right there. You can see we stopped off at our ship before we headed back underground, so we're relatively good on all of our supplies at this point. Alright, first thing we want to do in Meridia is head to the right here. This is going to be one of the trickier missile upgrades to get in this game. Open that gate and clear out all the ground enemies in particular, and then run from the right side to the left side and Shinespark right before you go through this door so that it's all charged up and ready to go. Then immediately run over here, get on that plant, and use it right there. Note that the Shinespark only lasts about 5 seconds before it disappears, the effect, so you may have to try that a few times, but there's that 33rd missile upgrade right there. Now we're going to go back through this area and progress to the next door, as usual, as normal. Love the effect of that water in the foreground. Acting as kind of a little filter on the lens there. It's a very nice effect. These little sandy areas are very frustrating. Make sure you get the full jump in for the most part. It's difficult to make a good jump when you have the weight of the sand bearing down on you, so it's one of those things that takes a little doing to get familiar with. Use these guys as makeshift platforms to avoid the sand. It's kind of tricky getting a full jump. You're coming out of the sand. Alright, so this time we're going to hang on to this one. You can see it's a little worse for wear. This is another one of those very tricky jumps to make. Bad enough trying to come out of the sand right here, but if you can get a full jump right there, you can get through, and then we got to do a few wall jumps. Those guys are pretty annoying, obviously. So you can kind of lure them down like we did right there. That might be the best strategy for getting around them, and they're so weak that even our grappling beam can take them down. But yeah, go to the right when you touch down and go through this door. Drop a power bomb as soon as you come in. If you wait just a split second like I did, then Shaktool will get all confused, so let's speed this up actually. Get him to come back over here to the right side. And just let him do his thing, basically. As he's clearing out the sand for us. More efficiently than Toad in Super Mario Bros. 2, if you ask me. There's a reference right there. And go into a ball, and go in the left path here. Just use your bombs to get you up here, but no longer must we use bombs to propel us up into the air when we are morphing. Blaze?
Alright, the spring ball, this allows you to jump when you're in the morph ball form, so it makes getting around very easy in tight spaces with the spring ball.
Very satisfying, yeah. Just hit that jump button when you're morphed up, and yeah, beats dropping bombs. Let's just fall through the floor right here, bomb that left side, and we're just gonna head back out to the left, and this time we're swinging right across. Don't hang out this time. Make your way back here amongst all these little Draygons. We'll meet their dad in a little bit, or their mom, I'm not sure. Whatever Draygon is. That should be a fun time. That's the one that Gary has an especially fun strategy for, which I think most people who've played this game before know, but still a good time. So note these enemies coming out of this hole in the floor. Let's go into that floor in the hole. Go to the right here, and we can get the layout for Meridia. Get our map all filled out there. Gonna keep heading left here and then drop down, which is gonna put us right back outside of the broken tube which we created with our power bomb earlier. Open up that gate and drop down right here, and this just spits us out back in Brinstar and right here in the tube. We're gonna head back up to go into Meridia once again. Back in this main chamber. This time we're gonna explore it a little bit more. Take this first door on the right. Once you go up. Use some wall jumps here. You can freeze the fish and use the ledges, but it is more efficient if you just use that wall jumping technique. And then there's a hidden wall right there. False wall. Missile your way through this red door. And we have another creature who's, well, they're trying to kill us, but they're also kind of useful. Ride the shell up into the sky, and we'll get our 10th energy tank. I like Samus hamming it up for the camera right there. And there's a bit more to the right. This one is very well hidden, I have to say. Here we want to switch to our power bomb and drop down this time, hugging that wall, and man, a nasty person that hit a missile right there. That's our 34th missile upgrade. Remember the days before the internet? No one ever found that missile. Or maybe you don't remember the days before the internet, so there you go. Maybe you always knew where that missile was, but run back here and just obliterate that guy with our speed boost. Gonna take this top right door now. Another large chamber. Meridia's full of rather large chambers, and we have another sneaky area. See where that creature just went in, that crustacean-looking creature? Just ducked in the wall right there. Grab our 7th super missile upgrade right there, so we have a max of 35. Yeah, I love how hidden everything is in Meridia. It's the land full of secrets here in Zebes, the area full of secrets. Go back up again. And I'm gonna play Tarzan a little bit here. This is a pretty satisfying move right here. We're going to this right ledge. Love it. I gotta say, if Samus ever gives up the bounty hunting gig, then she's got a job waiting for her in the circus. These are some slick moves. I think I read once that Nintendo named her a bounty hunter early on because they thought it sounded cool. They didn't really know what it meant. And then they're like, oh, maybe bounty hunter's not the best term for her. Doesn't feel very hero-like, I guess, or heroine-like. Anyway, wall jump up there and go to the right for another false wall and our 35th missile upgrade right here. Got a nice 1-2 punch with a couple upgrades coming up here in a second as we move up and to the left. Get to use our spring ball a little bit here to get through some tight spaces. Another false wall here on the left. Just run right through. Should be able to, with a little bit of momentum, make that jump without having to do anything fancy. And drop down here, go right in the middle. Grab our 8th super missile upgrade on the left. And our 36th missile upgrade over here on the right. Room kind of feels like something also out of Super Mario 2 / Doki Doki Panic, kind of there in the final land warts level. Heading back now. Go through the wall once again. By the way, you can see we're still leaving a little blue on our map. We're not making a point to, touch every section of every room. Hope you'll forgive us for that. It doesn't affect the official completion score at the end for what it's worth, but bomb this middle piece in the floor. Drop on down. Use a super missile right there to upset that crustacean creature. And this is an area you'll become very familiar with. We need to come back through here a few times. First thing to do is charge up your Shinespark and jump up here to get your 37th missile upgrade. Just like we had this pairing a second ago, we also have a super missile to the right here. Careful where you step, that will give way, that little platform area there. But we have our penultimate, our 9th super missile upgrade right here. Now we can step on this as it gives way and we can drop down. And this time we want to go to all the way on the bottom right and bomb right here. This is the annoying part because we have 2 sand pit areas. There's one to the left as well. And we need to drop down into each of them. Just kind of, go Morph Ball right there and try to gap the enemies, but make sure you don't fall again. We need to grab the upgrades from this area first, which includes our 38th missile upgrade. We're getting close here. And again, being careful not to fall or get sucked into the sand beneath you. We want to jump up here. And yeah, just do that, as soon as you jump, do that double tap to go down into a Morph Ball and fit into that little hole right there. Grab that power bomb. That's our 7th power bomb. That's all we need to grab here. Unfortunately, now we need to drop down here and do it all over again. Gotta find the right spot to give way, but yeah, there you go. So now we need to backtrack, and I've gone ahead and edited it for us, so we don't have to sit through that, but just go back up and around once again, because it kicks you out of Meridia altogether, basically. Just gotta follow that same course to get back here, but take the left sand pit this time. If I could get a good jump out of here. It's frustrating. Frustration is real. There's a good jump. Alright, and just clear out that block right there. We can just shoot this with our beam, but be careful, this floor will give way, so we want to use our spring jump right there, spring ball jump. We get our 4th reserve tank right there on the right. And then on the left side, we have our 39th missile upgrade. How about that? So 195 is the total right now, our max capacity on those. So now one last time we will drop through the sand and make our way all the way around once again to get back to where we just were. And here we are. Alright, so this time, now that we've gotten all the power-ups beneath this area, we're going to wall climb up here on that left wall, go through this door up top. Got these Metroid-looking creatures here. They're not actually Metroids, they're called Mocktroids, very fittingly. Wannabe Metroids. But yeah, use your speed booster to run through those walls there on the right. And now it's time for another boss. Let's throw it back to Gary.
Boss beaters.
Alright, Botwoon, this one can just take a while, especially if you don't have super missiles, but if you can be accurate with them and stack a lot of these super missiles when you get clear shots of that head, take them. 10 super missiles takes them down, otherwise it's a lot of the smaller, weaker missiles, and it's a bit of a longer slog fighting out with Botwoon, but yeah, there you go. Not too difficult.
Yeah, Botwoon, Phantoon. Getting mixed up. Yeah, just some good licks with some strong missiles. Just moving so fast at this point. I don't know if you want to use your waste your good stuff on him. But once he's down, head into the room behind him. We have our 11th energy tank right up here. Just got to use our spring ball right at the edge. There you go. Just a few more of those to grab here on Zebus. Once you grab that, run to the left and do a speed boost through to the right. Another area where you can just stock up on supplies right here. Let's do that right now and speed things up for a second. Can't get our missiles in good shape. Find out what our actual max totals are at this point. And we should be at 45 on our super missiles. There you go. So we have 3 power bombs left to get. 1 super missile left to get. And I guess 7 more of the regular missile upgrades, so. Speaking of missiles, if you want to top yours off, even though we just kind of did, you can morph into that bottom right area and just spring ball over these guys. And there is a missile replenishing station right through here. And then you just speed boost back to the left through all these pipes, all this pipage here. And then probably wall jumping is just the fastest way to get up here. You can use your grappling beam, but I just assume do it the wall jumping way. Not quite as pesky as the proper Metroids, but the series is kind of annoying just because a lot of times you're jumping out of the sand. It can kind of grip you and mess with your jumps, so you can't get your wall jumps off the way that you want to. Plenty of areas to use your grappling beam here, but I just assume do the wall jumps. This is one exception right here, because you can't do wall jumps. We have a very narrow window right there. There we go. And then you can see the animation when we hook onto a side wall jump right there, or a side grappling hook location. Let's do a proper save. Just to hear that sound and enjoy the nice blinking lights. Top off your health in this room. Think if I'd have known any better, they're throwing all these charging stations and save spots at you. We got a big boss fight coming up, right? We actually do, but it's not that big. Especially with Gary's boss beater, but still a good time. These spikes are fake, by the way, but over here on the right, if you shoot this, you get your 40th missile upgrade. Then we're going to go through the spikes on the left-hand side of the floor, and Fluff, I'm told you have a Fluff fact about the upcoming boss here?
Here's a sweet one which took over 20 years to be revealed. But when Draygon's little offspring, the Evirs, appear in Draygon's room ahead of the boss, their movement pattern spells out Keiko Love in English. This was a reference to a woman which Super Metroid's enemy programmer Yasuhiko Fuji was dating at the time, Keiko. Feeling guilty at not being able to make time for her, he got the idea for the Easter egg and programmed it into the game late at work one night when everyone else was sleeping. Fuji was the only one who knew about the Easter egg, outside of maybe Keiko herself, for 20 years until Fuji did a magazine interview and revealed this around 2007.
Good call, that is sweet. Gotta bring in Gary now for tips on how to beat him. Gary?
Boss beaters.
Alright, there's two ways to deal with Draygon. You can stay on the left-hand side of the room, and then face left and let him catch you. This is my preferred way. Then when he carries you up, switch to your grapple, and you'll see that exposed conduit that's lit up. Fire at that when you're lined up with it. You'll kill him instantly from the electricity you'll course through your body into his. Or, the longer, more boring way, just shoot him in the belly repeatedly with your best missiles for a very long slog. I prefer the first method, but do what you want to do. That's how you take down Draygon.
Good call, and the sad little babies there. But yeah, that was a sweet story from Fluff, and that was a great strategy from Gary. Thank you very much, both of you. And our prize for taking him down, a very useful item indeed, the space jump. Blaze?
Alright, the space jump. This could take a little work to get used to, but you could essentially never come down. Just keep stacking jump after jump if you use this in the right way.
Yeah, just tap that jump button when you're at the peak of your jump, when you're in that somersault formation there, and yeah, pretty much the entire world is open to us now that we have this. There is no ceiling too high. But as Blaze mentioned, it does take a little getting used to. So now we're going to backtrack, just have a little bit more to do in Meridia before we head out. Most notably, we need to get the most powerful weapon in the game for Samus here. I'm going to go through this top door over here. It's a little fidgety. We got it, we got it. Thanks for the platform there, Mocktroid. It's not bad if you don't need to change directions in particular. A little bit easier, but morph through here. And certainly a situation where you would need to have that space jump right there just to get around that little ledge that's sticking out too far for conventional wall jumping right there. And the plasma beam, just hug this surface right here and go up and around. Use this for a little stepping off point. Still doing the wall jumps right there, I can't help myself, but yeah, the plasma beam is through here. These guys can kind of mess up your jump a little bit. Still don't have that screw attack. That'll be one of the final items which we get, the one that lets you do damage when you're in the middle of a somersault. But we'll take what we got. Don't know what that is, but let's kill it. It's disgusting, I know that. It just drops straight down over on the right. Not well concealed or anything, but here it is, the plasma beam. Blaze?
Alright, the plasma beam, the most powerful of all of the beams, damages multiple enemies. You can use this with other beams to add additional properties to it, but very powerful, most powerful beam in the game. Can't combine this with the Spazer for what it's worth, but the power you get from the plasma, well worth it.
Good call, Blaze. So now we're up around sort of the back way that we would have come in had we gone in through the wrecked ship, which I mentioned back when we were on that wrecked ship, that one door that we didn't go through. We're sort of in that neighborhood when it comes to Meridia here. So now we've had our fun. We've collected pretty much, I think we've cleaned out Meridia in full. So just use your super missile on this to enter this little shortcut tube, which is going to pop you back out in a familiar location once you drop down here. Right there. And back in this little corridor here, little airlock area, and how many times have we seen this screen now? But thankfully the space jump makes getting through here a lot easier. Don't have to worry about the sand bearing down all that weight on you because you just keep jumping up through it. And drop down here for the shortcut. Back to the left here. And once again, when we find that little hole over here on the left, this will drop us down right by the entrance, the elevator to Norfair, which we're going to take. Time to turn our attention to one of the final bosses, Ridley. Have some more items to grab here as well. Obviously some more missiles, but especially the aforementioned screw attack. And now we basically have the entire map open to us in terms of getting around. You'll see, I think we mentioned this earlier, but the plasma beam replaces the Spazer beam, so it's more powerful. We'll take that. Doesn't spread quite as much. I mean, you get 2 beams instead of 3, but it's a lot more powerful, and the spread is pretty much the same, actually, as the Spazer, so we'll certainly take that. But if you get nostalgic for the Spazer, you can always re-equip that, but you have no reason to at this stage in the game. I'm here to tell you. Alright, so now we can finally go down here. We haven't traveled down here before. Use one of our power bombs to open this orange door here. Hope you're up for a swim. Just dive right in right here. Don't worry, our suit is protecting us from the giant vat of high sea right here. So we're passing the gate into Ridley's lair this time. Got the elevator to take down. If you want to save, we have a save stop right here. Hope that doesn't hurt. Doesn't look comfortable. The electricity bolts there. But yeah, let's head on down, descend into Ridley's lair. So this really is the basement of Zebes. This really is the bowels of the bowels of the bowels. Head left once you reach the bottom of the elevator. Ignore all the dragons here. This is where the space jump definitely comes in handy. Just the right rhythm to avoid all those bursts right there. Before we dip down, let's stay up right here and use a bomb. Specifically a power bomb. Excuse me. And once again, gonna let the Torizo statue kind of cup us. Looks like he's about to go bowling with us. This will drain the lava out of this room. So we can drop down to the bottom now. Go through the drain. Use some bombs here on the floor, on these blocks that look like they can be bombed. It's a satisfying freeze right there. So in this next room, you want to use your space jump to sail over this. That's going to give way as soon as you put any weight on it, so. We now have our 41st missile expansion, just 5 to go. Now you can drop down. And who's that up there embedded in the bricks? It's our old pal Torizo, and he got a new coat of paint for the rematch. Gary?
Boss beaters.
Alright, Golden Torizo. I don't like to use missiles. I want to save them for Ridley, who's coming up in just a moment. Instead, we can get by just fine by firing charge shots at his belly and then just space jump over or through his waves for that invincibility. But yeah, not too difficult. And plus, there'll be plenty of power-ups, replenishments as you fight him as well. Not too difficult.
Yeah, when you do the charge shot, you can get away with, sort of like we did with Phantoon, with avoiding damage there, but not really necessary. It's not all that tough. Stick with the charge shots, which incidentally go through his little babies as well once they hatch. Grab all the goodies that the piñata of Torizo left us, and before we leave here, let's go check out where Torizo was hanging out. Drop a power bomb right there to clear all that out. And we will find ourselves the final super missile upgrade here in Super Metroid. Feels good, and couldn't have come at a better time, as we are about to take on Ridley, as Gary said. Now let's head through this door here. Pop this open, see what we got for beating Golden Torizo. The screw attack, finally. Blaze?
Alright, the screw attack. This allows Samus to do an invincible jump in the air when you're somersaulting. Use this to remain invincible with certain boss attacks. Things like that. Gary will talk about that. This can also break bomb blocks.
Yeah, it's nice having the invincibility of the screw attack, killing pretty much anything that it touches. You can go through those bricks, just like Blaze mentioned, right at the top. Carry on through this area. It's rush hour here. Good time to have the screw attack. Use one of our 50 super missiles at this point to open that gate and pass on through. Once again, the lava's not going to come all the way up, but still fun to use that screw attack to break through some barriers without having to pull out any other weapons. Got a whole room full of enemies here, but we're just going to screw attack our way right up to the top. And if it looks like that ceiling can be broken, good eyes. Bust on through. It just becomes a sixth sense after you play this game for a while. Sure, some items are very hidden, but every now and then you're thinking, yeah, that can go. That can go right here. Hug the left wall, break this, and just hold to the left to get our 42nd missile upgrade right here. And a heart-shaped room right here. That's sweet. Be careful when you're leaving. You can go down at the bottom, but it's a longer way to get back. So if you just make sure you just come out to that one brick, which won't disappear, then just spring jump up and then come back this way. Save yourself some time. And here the lava is actually rising to a point where it can swallow us up. So let's keep moving here. Note the shape of the room right here. I don't know, you guys can block all you want. I'm just trying to get out of here. So in this next room, we have an alien against the wall. Normally I wouldn't care, but in this case, we want to freeze him and use a super missile and pass right on through. Careful about accidentally destroying these fire fleas. They are once again lighting up the room, but here is our 12th energy tank, just 2 to go after this. Plenty of health for Ridley here, no excuses. And as we're backtracking here, let's bring in Fluff for another Fluff fact about Super Metroid. Fluff?
There's a secret moveset which the game doesn't tell you about. To access it, have the charge beam and another beam equipped, and select power bombs as your secondary weapon. Charge your charge beam, then after a couple seconds, Samus will be surrounded by circling projectiles. The type changes depending on whether you've got the ice, wave, plasma, or Spazer beam equipped.
Thank you very much, Fluff. Yes, so many secrets, and there are 4 different ones, so you can experiment with them. Some of them are good on some of the bosses, As are Gary's boss beaters, obviously, but something to experiment with. Alright, you know you can use something here. You can use little dinky bombs just to go through this hole in the wall on the right. Use a power bomb just to clear everything out of the way. Looks like we could bomb that, but no, we want to go in this little hole right here and just use a regular bomb to pass on through. Love how effective the screw attack is on. It's just an instant death for everybody in this game. Alright, before we worry about that, let's grab this. I guess this is our 8th power bomb upgrade right here. 2 to go. And yes, we will definitely use a power bomb right here to disintegrate this middle statue. And just mind the elevator here, it just kind of drops down. Probably hasn't been serviced in a while, so just ride it down a little bit and then hop off. These guys are kind of annoying. They can only be defeated once they turn to that brighter color, so just sort of shoot at them a little bit. Eventually they'll do one of their little kicks, and then that's when they let their guard down, so very small window to get those hits in, but yeah, because they're otherwise always invincible, it doesn't make sense to try to use time a bomb or anything like that. But this works pretty well. We want to save most of our missiles for Ridley anyway. Very frustrating. But we are maxed out on super missiles, so that's good. That's a good takeaway. This looks like classic Metroid right here, this room. The colors, the teeth. You get a hang of the space jump, as you can see right there. Pull off some sweet chains, sweet combos. And coming up on Ridley here, famously named after Alien director Ridley Scott. Nice little homage there. And you know what this door means? Use a super missile, pass on through, and throw it back to Gary. Gary?
Boss beaters.
Alright, Ridley. This is a prize fight right here. I love this one. Just aim diagonally up and launch off your best missiles, your super missiles, into his belly, any part of him really. I like to jump up in the air to chase him up, get extra shots in. Just make sure you're accurate with those missiles so you don't waste them, especially the super missiles. And yeah, just keep putting them into him. Eventually he'll go down. Good luck.
Prize fight, I like that. Good look, Gary. Yeah, sometimes he'll pick you up, but you can just pelt him with even more super missiles at that point, for what it's worth. Eventually he gets to a point where he'll pick you up because the battle is over, and that's just sort of his death move right there. I've played him where I've hit it in the lava when he's ready to go, and he'll keep trying to reach down and grab you. Alright, so he didn't do it that time. He won't always grab you, it just depends on where you're standing, but that works too. A win is a win is a win. Is a win. And for our efforts, we're handsomely, there it is. With the penultimate energy tank right there. And it would appear that the Metroid has been moved. Or escaped. Not sure if anyone told Ridley. Apparently he was just guarding an empty room here, but that's fine. That's just fine. Alright, so now obviously we need to do some backtracking to get out of here. We're going to head back to kind of where that alien was blocking the energy tank area. We didn't explore upwards in that area yet, so we're going to go do that. And while we're heading backwards for the moment, let's bring in Fluff for another Fluff fact about Super Metroid. Fluff?
There's another sneaky move that the game doesn't reveal to you named the Crystal Flash, which can be very useful if you're low on health. If you're below 50 health and have no energy in your reserve, and also have at least 10 missiles, 10 super missiles, and 11 power bombs, you can fully restore your health on demand. To do the Crystal Flash, go into a Morph Ball and hold L, R, and down while dropping a power bomb, then continuing to hold that attack button. If you've held all of these buttons through the explosion and met the above conditions, you'll regain full health at the expense of these weapons. A pretty good trade-off if you ask me, and thanks to DL for reminding us about this move.
So many secrets, I love it. They really put their whole heart and soul into this one, and it shows. That's why people are still playing it today, and why speedrunning it is such a big deal, and all the accolades, it deserves them all. We'll definitely want to stop off at our ship before we go to take on Mother Brain for the final fight. Make sure we're topped off on everything. But yeah, in this room, avoid the Indiana Jones-like traps, those boulders, and just pass through this wall on the left right here. You could tell it looked a little funky. There was something going on there, but head on up here. We're going to go to the right, grab ourselves the 43rd missile upgrade. And we also have the penultimate power bomb power up around here. Use one on this wall. Just keep jumping and holding to the right, using that spring ball. Then just pass on through. And here is the penultimate power bomb upgrade. And actually you can't get to this from the left side. You can only get out this way by shooting that and then stepping on this so that the rest gives away. But we're going to run back through here. That's where that door led, by the way. This time we're going to go up and to the left once we get to the junction at the top of this area here. Have one more missile upgrade in this area before we take a sort of little shortcut back to a normal part of Zebes. Let's just say that. So power bomb right there, and head to the left and grab yourself the 44th missile upgrade. Just 2 to go for that arbitrary number of the max of 230, but there you go. All right, let's get out of here now. Head up here, and we're going to have a little shortcut back to Brinstar. It'll look very familiar once we pass through here. Gotta use all the tricks that we got at this point, but yeah, right through the wall, and then back in Brinstar, just like that. Kinda missed it, and its weird green color scheme. So now it's just about grabbing the last few power-ups. I think we have 2 more missile upgrades, 1 more energy tank, and 1 more power bomb, and then we'll be all maxed out for that 100% completion. We'll also stop off at our ship, which is right next to the final power bomb location, so we gotta head there anyway to make sure we're all maxed out and ready to tangle with Mother Brain and save that adorable little Metroid. Remember how tiny it was? So cute. I'm sure it hasn't grown at all, but anyway. I guess while we're backtracking, let's speed things up a little bit and bring back in Fluff for another Fluff fact about Super Metroid. Fluff?
When Super Metroid was released on March 19th, 1994, at 24 megabits, it was the largest file size on a cartridge ever released on the console. That's still 4 times bigger than the largest game on the NES, which we did a recent class on in Kirby's Adventure, which was only 6 megabits. Of course, it's all relative, because as we mentioned in that class, an average title today is 100 gigabytes, or 800,000 megabits.
Yeah, it's all relative. Thank you very much, Fluff. So we're back in this huge room in Brinstar, and we're going to use a power bomb to head back down here. We were down here before, but we did not have the power bomb, which we needed to lay right there. And we need the speed boost to run right through here. Might need to clear out a couple enemies that are in the way first. Make sure they don't mess up your sprint. But here we go, the final E-Tank. Final energy tank. There you go, all 14. So we're maxed out on health now. Last thing we need to do is grab a couple missiles and one last power bomb. Yeah, probably going back to what Fluff just said. Say the average AAA title these days is, you know, probably at least 100 gigabytes, probably more. Just goes to show you don't need a massively sized game for it to be a classic like we have right here. So we're going to go back through this door and use your space jump here and a power bomb. Remember, this connects back to that initial area where we first got the Morph Ball, the Morphing Ball. Use another one to take out this wall right here, the bottom bit of it here. And then to take out this wall. And the final two missile upgrades are pretty much right next to each other. We're going to go all the way to the right here, where we kind of fudged it, taking that damage so that we could get knocked up into the energy tank for that first one. Also got our second missile upgrade here. It's funny how I remember these things after playing this game many, many times. But lay a power bomb right here. Could probably do a Shinespark, but just going to do our space jumps here to knock through that ceiling. Go to the left. And there's actually an invisible platform right there. Take that across. They're pulling out all the stops now. And grab the penultimate missile upgrade number 45 right here to get us up to 235, or 225, excuse me. And then shoot the base on the left. Very anticlimactic, just like that. The final missile upgrade for our very arbitrary final total of 230 missiles. So now, literally the last thing to do before we go to take on Mother Brain is to get the final power bomb upgrade. So gonna head back to the surface to grab that. And we're gonna be calling on our space jump technique to basically go up and to the right of where our ship is docked, parked. Been there a while, hopefully. Haven't been written up any tickets or anything. Not a lot of traffic out there, enemy or otherwise. It's very quiet on the surface of Zebes. Lulls you in thinking that this is a chill planet that you might want to hang out on. Not the case. Not the case at all. The space jump combined with the screw attack is pretty great in this section in particular, and the high jump, boots, just all the augmentations at this point working together. Did I whistle just now? Felt a little whistle. Augmentations. That's how you know we don't have any more Fluff facts today, when I'm commenting on the whistling sounds that my teeth make. You never know, he might surprise us. He might have one more up his paw. Wait and see, but we're pretty much here now, so let's head on outside. And we might as well grab this before we hit our ship, so just go full speed and just launch with all the momentum, and we're not quite done. We're going higher and higher and higher here. All the way up. The highest peak. We've been to the deepest depths of Zebes that it has to offer. Now we have reached the highest peak to get the final upgrade. One solitary power bomb upgrade to bring our total to 50. So we now have the max everything for Super Metroid, just to remind you, is 14 energy tanks, 4 reserve tanks, 230 missiles, that's 46 missile upgrades, 10 super missile upgrades to bring that total to 50, and the same for the power bombs, 50 right there, 10 of those. So there we go, let's max them all out. There's your max stats, quote-unquote stats. And now it's time. Time to go to the one final place on planet Zebes that we have not yet explored, Tourian. The home of Mother Brain. And hopefully that cute little Metroid as well. Hopefully we'll find him there, but we'll see. So to get there from your ship, we're heading straight left. Been so long since we've seen this area, right? We've backtracked so many times through parts of Brinstar and Norfair and, yeah, everywhere in between. Meridia, but now I'm gonna finally open this red door and go right this time. There was no point in coming here before because, as you'll see, once we open this door right here, not heavily guarded, with the red locked door on the outside, but you need to take down the 4 bosses of Kraid, Phantoon, Draygon, and of course Ridley on top there. Kind of loafing, except you can see the claws right there, but there you go. I like the way they do this, just like in the original Metroid. Had to take down both Ridley and Kraid before you could access and reach Mother Brain's final area. Same concept this time as the ground gives out. The statue is sunk down in the background. We take the elevator down to Tourian for the final showdown. Tried to set that up as dramatically as I could. So you know the drill. If you played the first Metroid, be on the lookout for Metroids here. There's a save spot to the right there if you want to use it. To take out these Metroids, you freeze them, and then you hit them with a super missile. Oftentimes they'll drop one, so you can stay relatively even. You might fall a little bit behind, but that's alright. As long as you have gotten all the missiles at this point, all the upgrades, then the final battle shouldn't be too bad, especially if you have full health. Part of the luxury of gathering every single item in this game is that you are very much prepared for this final attack. If you do get caught by one of the Metroids, then just get into a ball and use your bombs, move around to shake them off of you. Let's see if we can get to the bottom without getting grabbed by one of these. Just take them one at a time is also a good rule of thumb. And as soon as you hit them with the bomb, make sure you have your ice beam out. That was a gimme right there. I didn't need to waste a super missile right there, but that's alright. These guys just hanging out, not really doing their job. Trying to stop us. I always thought it was very creepy how everything just turns to dust essentially as soon as you touch it in this area. It's like a museum. And here's one of those creatures now. Wonder how they all became. Oh, hey, it's little Metroid. Oh, you've grown up? You've been eating. I guess we can see what you've been eating. You can actually extend this. You can actually ditch the Metroid altogether and kind of make your way to the left side of the screen. But eventually, you gotta do this. Doesn't matter. Just if you get in the right rhythm, you can get the Metroid circling you. Do you remember me? That tastes familiar? I'd like to think that it feels a little remorse right here for sucking us dry. Thankfully, though, it's good planning on Mother Brain's part, having an energy refill station along with the missiles as well, which we don't need, so it's not doing anything for us. We also had our reserves to work with if we did need to dip into those. The little Metroid didn't know about that. Gotta stop referring it to as a little Metroid at this point, but at least they've been eating well. One last super missile, and we have one last save spot down below, as you can see. In case you want to do that. And the SpaghettiOs of frustration. Those rings. Just use your regular missiles here. Don't dip into your super missiles. Want to save those. Part of the reason for getting 230 missiles, going through all the trouble, aside from getting a 100% completion, is that you can use them without worrying about taking inventory on them or anything like that. They are there to use, so go ahead and use them. And it's time for Mother Brain. Let's bring in Gary.
Boss beaters.
Right, Mother Brain, the strategy very similar to the first Metroid. We just want to stand at the edge of the platform. In this case, I guess we could fire the missiles up, but you got to take out that glass plating first. You want to dodge, shoot, or jump through those rings, which are more annoying than anything, just knocking you off your spot. But just repeat this, stand in place, do that diagonal up firing of the missiles, just the basic missiles, mind you. You'll take down Mother Brain.
Good call, Gary. Worked like a charm. Still have 113 missiles to go. I guess for the ride home, right? If anybody steps to us on our way back to our okay, we're not done. Gary?
Boss beaters.
Right, Mother Brain's second and final form. Want to fire everything you got, all your super missiles, all your missiles, get against that back wall, aim up diagonally and just fire at her head like there's no tomorrow. She's got an explosive shot she'll launch on the ground, which has a delayed explosive response, so give it a second before you jump so you're in the air when it explodes. And then just transition between being on the ground and jumping to bait her rings and her energy bursts so that they're hitting where you're not, but just aim up, fire everything you got at her, eventually you'll take her down.
Good call, thank you very much, Gary. I guess take her down is, you know, we get to the point where it turns over to story mode, basically. Which, as soon as she starts to gather energy here, I think this will do it, yep. So now it's very similar to our first battle, quote-unquote, with Ridley, where we just need to hang around and get the crap beat out of us until it's time to move on. We've already gotten in all the shots we need to. It's just about getting all kinds of Rainbow Raid into the wall. Actually would have been faster. Cut down on some time, maybe. I'm not sure if the timer's running during this, but yeah, if we had come into this battle with significantly less health, could have shaved off an extra minute. That's all right. I think we're still in good shape. So it's not looking too good for Samus right here. Kind of a bummer after the last 2 hours or so. But I guess we lost, class. First time on this channel, I think Gary has failed at wait. Bite my tongue. Thanks, Lil Metroid. Sucker dry. Nice. Surprised you still have an appetite after you went through our 14 energy tanks before. Nice. Just like the museum. Thanks, Lil Metroid. And now you're giving us our health back too. Strictly speaking, I don't think this is necessary. Yeah, this part always breaks my heart. If you don't feel something here, you might be a robot, but I'm just always screaming, get out of here, we're fine. We're doing great. We can go, we don't need this much energy for the ride home. Or the remainder of this battle with Mother Brain. Get out of here. You're looking worse for wear, little Metroid. Oh. So friggin' sad. But it gives us the ultimate beam right here and just take it out of Mother Brain's head. This is for little Metroid right here. Love it. I want to say it's impossible to lose here, but I mean, I don't think it is, but it would be very difficult to lose right here. There we go. One word of advice, Samus. Keep this weapon for the next game. That's all I'm going to say. But we can't smoke him yet. classic dramatic fashion, we have 3 minutes to get out of here. Mother Brain pulled an Alec Trevelyan on us. Any GoldenEye fans out there? Get the reference? Anyway, it's not too difficult to get out of here. The path is this. Pretty much everything else is a dead end, so make sure you stick to this. I like to do the Shinespark. Use that to get through there at the end. Gonna go up and around here. Use that screw attack. You guys might want to get out of here too. Space pirates. I want to tell you your business, but the ship's going down. Beam works well on them as well. Using the space jump works well if you just want to hang to one side, or you can just use your high jump boots like we're doing here. Not too far from here, and oh, Fluff, told you have one last thing you want to say?
Make sure you stop off to save the Edacoons and Dakora by destroying the wall for their escape. These peaceful creatures later show up in Metroid Fusion, where they play a big role in saving Samus, which suggests that saving these creatures is canon.
It's a very good reminder, thank you very much, Fluff. Yeah, to save those creatures, instead of just going up and over, saving your own skin, Morph Ball down through that little crack here, open this door. Still have plenty of time to do this, don't worry. Just shoot that wall on the right there, and just go little creatures, go little Edacoon, I know, I love you too, go. It's just they're flexing for us. Yes, I know you know how to do wall jumps. They're the ones that taught us how to do the wall jumps, even though we already knew how to do the wall jumps, but that's alright. So we still got a minute 30 to go, about probably 10 seconds worth of screen here. Just go to the right. And just get on your bloody ship and get out of here. Bad time to flub the morphing ball, but yeah, here we go. Be a bad time also to realize that you did not fill up on gas before you touched down. How dramatic is that? And you got to see them fly off to the right. I don't know if you caught that. Looked like a little shooting star, but that was the little critters getting away too. The operation was completed successfully. Clear time. There we go. 2 hours, 4 minutes. Well under the time of 3 hours to get that best ending. They're all pretty similar, but getting it under 3, that's the one you want. That's the one that gets the little extra animation. But there we go. As we enjoy the credits, yeah, I'm exhausted after that one, I got to admit. It's one of the best games of all time, but that will take it out of you when you're going for that efficient run right there. But there you go. A huge thanks to all my TAs. I'm always grateful for all my TAs' help, but today just really knocked out of the park. Blaze covering all the items, Gary with the boss beaters, Fluff fill in time with some interesting facts about Super Metroid, some things that I didn't know ahead of this class myself. So thank you to all of them. Thank you to you for watching this. I hope that you can use this particular walkthrough to pick up the game and 100% complete it just as easily as we did here today. Either way, if you don't mind, if you haven't already enrolled in this class, please hit that subscribe button to enroll. We do one of these classes every single week in the same spot. We'd love to have you enrolled. Click that like button if you don't mind as well. Really does help us out in making future classes for you. And leave a comment. I'm curious to see what your favorite game in the Metroid series is. Are you a fan of the original? I know Prime gets a lot of love, the more recent Dread. Yeah, let me know. I'm curious to know what you think, or is this your favorite like mine in the series? Leave a comment below though as we continue to give credit to the behind the scenes people. I guess they're all behind the scenes people when it comes to a video game. Curious to see if we're gonna have, I'm sure we'll see the name, but I'm curious to see where his name is going to appear. Gunpei Yokoi, who Fluff mentioned, you know, the father of the Game Boy, and the one that was complaining that that the game was taking too long. There he is, general manager. His job to yell at everyone and threaten to pull the plug multiple times. Gunpei, I think sometimes it's translated as that, but there you go. Here it comes, best ending for our efforts of beating this under 3 hours. Samus shedding the suit and just, yeah, wearing her casual wear, casual outfit or swimsuit. What a reward for rewarding players for beating the game especially quickly. But there you go, and I think we get our completion percentage at the end here too. Your rate for collecting items is 100%. That's what we like to see. See you next mission. We'll see you next class in the same spot. Next week, right here on Video Games 101. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and comment on this video, and click subscribe if you haven't already, as this seriously helps me to keep making great content for you. And check the description of this video to see what song is playing right now.